Today, I'll be telling you why Phainon, the Kevin XP, might be a complete disaster. But before that, let me introduce to you the best platform for recharging Stellar Jades, LD Shop. On LD Shop, you can purchase Stellar Jades at an extremely cheap rate compared to in-game. Using LD Shop, you can save up to 15% or even more when recharging your Honkai Star Rail accounts. Today I'll be buying this jade pack that only costs $43.70 compared to the in-game price of $50. All you need to do is give LD Shop your account UID and region, send your payment, and the Stellar Jades will be sent straight to your account in less than a minute. On top of that, if you recharge up to $80 in a month, you can get a supply pass for free. There's no reason to not use this website. People who say there are risks to doing this are complete idiots that don't know how it works. I swear on my channel's integrity that you will not be banned or scammed. Don't forget to register using my link in the description for an extra 10% off coupon. I hope you would recharge on this website after registering using my link because that's the best way to support my channel right now as YouTube is being a bitch. Anyways, let's start with the elephant in the room. It has been widely speculated that Phainon's ult is fixed to end at 160 AV. This is obviously extremely bad because the threshold for Zero Cycle ends at 150 AV, but you non-Zero Cyclers, I'll explain why his kit doesn't even work for casuals either. A good visualization on how his ult works is the current AS Hule's duel system. It is actually copy-paste 1-to-1. The duel starts, he advances every enemy, and every teammate leaves the field. The reason why it's so bad even for casuals is, once again, the AV consumed. This doesn't just affect zero cycling. A zero cycler might be able to one-shot a wave with an ult, but what about a casual player? There's simply no way in hell a casual player can finish everything in just one ult with mediocre to shit builds. So what happens then, you might ask? They'll end up taking 3 cycles just for the first wave. 2 ults is 320 AV, which is 30 AV short of 3 cycles, but accounting for ramp up for his next ults, it'll end up taking that long or longer. Now repeat the same thing for wave 2, and you'll see the problem. 6 cycles Swift Dispatch assuming you can kill both waves in 2 ults, each as a casual player. This is not just a zero cycler problem. The only silver lining of his kit that I heard speculations about is that his ults take a snapshots of all the buffs and stats he has, and he won't lose them mid-ults after taking multiple actions. But that's literally the bare minimum that should have been done and doesn't solve the aforementioned issues. Now let's imagine a world where this issue is fixed. His other glaring issue is the lack of a low-cost team. His kit might have something to do with charging after being the targets of a character's skill, which locks him out of half of the cast. He can't even use RMC, which is one of the strongest supports right now. This would seem the only supports that can help him charge fast are Bronya and Sunday, which really screws with his accessibility. And since he's using a charge system, the few supports that do help him with skills can't even benefit much with their ults since Tingyun and Sunday are energy based. Debuffers are also completely out of the question pretty much, so that's another monkey wrench in the mix. It seems that the more you learn about his kits, the less it makes sense and the less everything synergizes with what we know already. Now, another issue with his kits is his reliance on his light cone. Why, you might ask? Well, you've seen how I treat his ults as if he needs the full AV to do damage. That's because from what I've heard, that's exactly the case. Most of the damage is packed at the end. And apparently, if he falls below a certain HP, he can get kicked out of ults prematurely, which means he'd do way less damage. The next issue, yes, he has more, is the fact that his gameplay has almost no skill expression other than gaming stacks. The majority of his gameplay which happens in his ults is basic pugilism shits, with no variance on what to do except hitting back after getting hits. Since there's less characters to worry about, there's less things to account for, and less ways to optimize. This makes him arguably the fireflop in this era, being the lowest skill ceiling units to be made, surpassing even Maide, whose auto battle was cancer to deal with since it always hit the middle targets. I genuinely never expected them to make a character rivaling Fireflop after all these months, but Hoyo never ceased to disappoint me. Now, the last issue with his kits, which makes him even similar to Fireflop, is his insane stat saturation on ults. Imagine a world where a DPS can reach over 10,000 attack in ults. How bad would their scaling be in terms of relic ceiling? Having bad relic ceiling is always a recipe for disaster, as you've seen with Fireflop, and we all know history loves to repeat itself. Jingliu also fell off pretty hard because of her stat gain from states. It seems that the more raw stats you gain from your kits that isn't Res Pen or Death Shred, the worse you'll age in the meta. People should learn to stop glazing DPSs with self-buffs, especially when the stats can be obtained from relics. It just means they won't age well. Now, as to why I think they're sabotaging finance kits to this extent, it's probably because Saber, a limited collab unit, is releasing in the same patch, and most people decide on whether they want to post something on a unit's release patch, even if said unit will be here for a longer time. So to induce the max amount of FOMO, alongside Saber never rerunning, they had to make every other DPS that runs alongside her look bad in comparison. If that happens, the sales of the collab banner will go sky high, increasing the chance of future collab opportunities with other franchises. It seems that Phainon, just like Mighty, was sabotaged hard. Mighty was the one releasing right after anniversary patch. And as I predicted, he stole the worst judging from my sales data commission and global warp trackers, which honestly doesn't surprise me at all since he was meant to fail. It really pisses me off since Finan is meant to be the Kevin Kaslana of HSR, and Kevin in HI3, despite his generic name, is the strongest individual character who is constantly aura maxing. Even in the lore, Finan is just lame compared to him. Kevin was able to speed blitz a person who can stop time in his base form without using any effort, yet Finan can't match Maide in combat. Flame Reaver is similar to him, but Finan really isn't. Finan's kits was his only hope, but now he doesn't have that either. My username is literally set to Deliverance, which is Kevin's epithet out of respect for this character, but his XP has disappointed me on all fronts. It seems that the real Kevin XP was me all along, from my unconditional love for all things May to my usually cynical and cold personality. Everything just adds up now. Finan was never meant to be the Kevin XP. It has always been me. Finoob could never. It's over. I rest my case.